Here's check on stories we're following for you on Robin Hood Radio. Mess, marker, emblem, symbol, signal, curated by Adam Ekstrom, Arts for Artists. Opening reception is coming up from 5:30 till 8. Standard Space Gallery holding its first public opening during the COVID-19. Social distancing measures will be followed. Only 6 individuals will be allowed into the gallery at a time, and masks are required. Refreshments will be served in the parking area directly behind the gallery. The Salisbury Town Grove is closed July 4th and 5th. No boat launching on those days. No boat launching. In Sharon, the Sharon Playhouse is opening up for our show to celebrate July 4th. It'll be held Saturday evening, and it's a drive-in outdoor show. For more information or to see if tickets are still available for slots for your automobile, SharonPlayhouse.org. Dutchess County announced plans for 3 free drive-in style July 4th shows in 3 parts of the county. The displays will be held at Dutchess Stadium in Fishkill, Dutchess County Fairgrounds in Rhinebeck, and Silo Ridge Field Club Equestrian Center in Amenia. Visitors will need to remain in their vehicles, and there will be no restrooms or concessions available. No alcohol will be allowed on the grounds. Gates on the locations open at 7:30. The fireworks begin at 9:30. Parking is limited at the venues, so guests are encouraged to arrive early. Dutchess Stadium has 500 spots available, Silo Ridge has 300, and the Fairgrounds has 3,000. Well, Sharon Audubon is going to give you a reason to enjoy the outdoors. How? They're going to host a region-wide summer scavenger hunt. It'll begin on Sunday, July 5th. Families in all 6 of the Region 1 towns, as well as Warren, Goshen, Litchfield, Morris, Burlington, and Harwinton, can get lists each week from their Parks and Recreation Director. To register at any time for 4 weeks of hunts, you can send Matt Meddy an email at sharon.rec.ctr@snet.net. Meanwhile, the Archdiocese of Hartford will open churches for the weekend masses beginning July 4th. The parish of St. Catherine will have a weekend mass at St. Bridget, Cornwall Bridge, and St. Bernard in Sharon on Saturday vigil at 4 p.m. St. Bridget outdoors, weather permitting, bring your own chair. Indoors during inclement weather. Sunday, 8 a.m. St. Bernard. On Sunday, 10 a.m. St. Bridget, outdoors, weather permitting, bring your own chair. Indoor, including inclement weather. The reward being offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of a person who was responsible for zipping a cat into a backpack and then tossing it into Mudge Pond over the last weekend is now up to $6,000. The Long Island, New York-based animal rescue organization Guardians of Rescue is offering $5,000. Desmond's Army has offered $1,000. Sharon Animal Control Officer Lee Soul said it's the worst case of animal cruelty she's seen in 28 years. The cat was rescued by a man who was launching his boat on Saturday morning when he saw the red bag's handle floating in the water. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont is rethinking Connecticut's reopening plans. Why? Because of outbreaks of coronavirus disease occurring in other states, including opening up Connecticut bars again. While Lamont told reporters this week that the first 2 reopening stages had gone smoothly, he said he's having second thoughts about proceeding to the next phase 3 weeks from now. Quote, I am sort of inclined to think about a pause before we do anything because I'm looking at the flare-ups. They're getting closer to Connecticut. Thank God we've got neighbors with low infection rates as well. I feel like we're in a good place right now. End quote. Meanwhile, Connecticut is gearing up for crowded beaches this weekend. While the state's coronavirus numbers continue to drop, the governor wants to make sure it stays that way. He and others are asking those celebrating to remain vigilant, saying he knows the 4th of July weekend will be a big holiday, especially at state beaches. With those crowds comes the reminder of social distancing. It's why those heading to the shoreline may need to bring not only the beach blankets and sunscreen, but also their masks and a little common sense. Phase 3 in Dutchess County has brought a rise in complaints regarding masks and social distancing. In the week the Hudson Valley reached Phase 3 of the state's reopening plan, Dutchess County received twice as many complaints regarding possible violations of COVID-19 guidelines than the week it entered Phase 2. The county received 40 complaints between June 21st and 27th. Assistant County Executive Ron Hicks told the Poughkeepsie Journal the county's been receiving an average of about 17 complaints per week during the pandemic, he said, and that number has been trending higher. There were 20 complaints between June 7th and 13th, 31 between June 14th and 20th, and by Wednesday, another 29 had already come in. Phase 3, which the Hudson Valley opened up and entered to on June 23rd, allowed for restaurants to offer indoor dining with limited capacity. Nail salons, tattoo parlors, and spas could open, and gatherings of up to 25 people were permitted. Indoor dining in particular has drawn headlines in recent days, as New Jersey and New York City both decided to postpone allowing it amid fears it could be linked to virus spikes seen in other parts of the country. Well, the saga of that Trump family continues to go on. That Trump book, which was to be distributed after the appeals court overrules the Dutchess court now, a New York appeals court cleared the way for the publisher to distribute a tell-all book by President Donald Trump's niece over the objection of the president's brother. New York State Supreme Court Appellate Division said it was lifting a restraint that Dutchess County Court judge put on Simon & Schuster a day earlier that would have blocked distribution of Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man. Although the book was scheduled to be published on July 28th, Simon & Schuster said thousands of the copies of the 75,000 copy first run of the book had already been sent out to bookstores and others. Before coming to Vassar College's Poughkeepsie campus in fall, students will need to show proof they've tested negative for COVID-19 in the previous 3 to 5 days. Once on campus, they will not be able to leave without staff approval in the case of emergency, and they'll have to wear a mask whenever indoors, including when visiting other students' dorm rooms. The school announced its plans to bring students back in the fall, including extensive safety guidelines to prevent the spread of the potentially deadly virus. Dutchess County employees are being offered incentives to leave their job amid what County Executive Mark Molinaro called, quote, "an uncertain fiscal future," end quote, that has seen tax revenue plummet. The county sent a memo to all its employees announcing a voluntary workforce separation incentive program, which Molinaro said will help reduce costs and allow employees to take advantage of their choice of 3 generous incentive options if they opt to retire or leave county service this year. Quote, "During the first 3 months of the coronavirus pandemic, the county's year-over-year sales tax revenue declined by $12.9 million, according to the state comptroller's office," end quote. The county projects the total lost sales tax revenue could be anywhere between $20 and $40 million, depending on consumer confidence and how quickly the economy will return to normal. Filming for scenes of a documentary with the working title Trumpland is scheduled to take place sometime in the next 2 weeks in the village of Catskill. The village board received a proposal about 2 weeks ago in an email. Village President Vincent Seeley said, adding that all trustees were agreeable with the proposal, which was not reviewed or formally voted on during a public meeting. Seeley said the proposal did not require a public vote. Quote, "We don't need a public vote," end quote. Another quote from Seeley, quote, "It was a request like any other that comes in," end quote. Beginning to feel a lot like summer in the Berkshires starting next weekend. 3 largest museums in the Berkshires, the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art, Norman Rockwell Museum, and the Clark Art Institute will reopen. Mass MoCA will reopen at 10 a.m. July 11th. Rockwell and the Clark will reopen at 10 a.m. July 12th. Tanglewood is also opening its 2020 season on a shifted landscape. While the music shed remains boarded up, the grounds are being meticulously maintained. Bruce People, the ground supervisor, was a lone man on a tractor duty trimming the area on Wednesday. The only other workers in sight were a pair from a construction company, the same contractor for Tanglewood's Lindy Center for Music and Learning. Atop the electric lift by the shed walls, they were installing a series of 13 by 21-foot custom-printed scrims that will greet visitors on the grounds, officially open with limited access on Sunday. Quote, "Though we can't offer live performances this summer, we wanted to open the grounds so the public could still visit and stroll the property and take in the iconic vistas so closely associated with Tanglewood's experiences," end quote. That from Boston Symphony Orchestra spokesperson Bernadette Horgan. In Sheffield, all budget items passed in their annual town meeting, but residents rejected articles on the environment and zoning issues. The town's fiscal 2021 budget is now $3,340,210. That's a 3.95% increase from last year. The town's $7,512,000 assessment also to the Southern Berkshire Regional School District, which some town officials recommended tabling until the economic consequences of COVID-19 also passed. Changes to the zoning bylaws were voted down. The proposed articles were an effort to make zoning rules uniform in the town's commercial and business districts. Proponents said the article would give business owners more places to locate their establishments. And coming up this weekend, of course, is July 4th, and you won't miss out on a chance or an opportunity to celebrate. Our business brief is underwritten by Morgan's at the Interlaken, interlakenin.com, Salisbury Bank, salisburybank.com. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 25,827.36 yesterday, up 92 points. The Nasdaq was up 53 points to 10,207.63, and the S&P 500 were up 14 points at 3,130.01. We'll take a look at the tri-state forecast. That'll come your way in just a few moments.